Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, late Monday afternoon. Some more massive news for the Miami Hurricane fans coming out of the transfer portal. Former Arizona cornerback Emmanuel Carnley committing to Miami. And I think immediately what stands out to me is the quantity of transfers is not very high for Miami. The quality is very much so high. I mean, every single transfer they're bringing in, some of the more coveted guys that you saw in the transfer portal. And I think on top of that, what stands out to me the most, it's very intentful. It's very targeted. We talked about, all right, what are the holes? What are the positions that Miami wants to address in the transfer portal? The secondary, whether it was cornerbacks, whether it was safeties, was the premier concern for a lot of you Miami Hurricane fans, including myself. Mario Cristobal is going out and bringing in really good players at the positions that Miami needed to address. And to me, that is exactly how the transfer portal should be operated in this modern era of college football, where look, Mario Cristobal, he recruits at a very good level out of high school. And so there's a lot of youngsters that are ready to step into some of those starting roles. That one position that was a little bit murky was what's the secondary going to look like? When you're going in out and bringing some of the more coveted cornerbacks and safeties into this Miami Hurricanes defense, I think the crazy part is I'm sitting here late December and saying by far the biggest weakness on the team last year was in the secondary. I'm looking at it in 2025 and saying, is it crazy to say this could be the strength of this Miami Hurricanes defense in the 2025 season? I don't think it's crazy because the caliber of player that Miami's bringing in is so dang high. I want to get into Emanuel Karnley, who as a Michigan fan, I'll take some credit for y'all getting this commitment. He came up to Michigan and it was, I think, 10 degrees over his visit. I think he probably just said, I can't make this happen. I'm going to go down to a little bit more sunshine and warmth. All jokes aside, very good football player. I think a lot of Miami Hurricane fans have a lot to be excited about. Before we get into the player, just want to say thank you to you guys. To the Miami Hurricane fans, a lot of which kind of rock with the fellas during the offseason. And when we talk about the recruiting trail, it's been such a blast talking this team. The amount of support y'all continue to show means the absolute world. If you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into this one. And I think the most exciting aspect about this commitment is he was very good for Arizona in 2023, or excuse me, 2024. Took over the starting role back half of the 2024 year, faced 51 targets, only gave up 22 catches, a 51% completion percentage when he was targeted. Traits on top of traits. So not only are you getting a guy that showed he can make it happen at the power four level, a bona fide starting caliber dude. He's only going into year 3 of his college football career. He's got 3 years of eligibility remaining. So what can this kid look like going into year 3? But I think more importantly, throughout his career for this Miami Hurricanes program. There's a difference, and we say this all the time. There's a difference between bringing in a guy like this and bringing in a guy like Michelle Powell that Miami brought in last year. Michelle Powell at that safety spot, he was going to be a 6-year senior. You kind of knew what you were getting. You're getting a solid safety, but you weren't really expecting a massive jump from year 5 to year 6 for Emanuel Karnley, a young cat only going into year 3, year 2 as a starter, with all the traits at 6'3", buck 85 to be a very good boundary cornerback. You're getting a really good ball player that I think could be a really, really good football player in 2025 with some further development. Can operate and press man with that length. I mean, he is long, and he can put hands on wide receivers. He can control what they want to do off the line of scrimmage. Really good in zone coverage. It's a bona fide boundary cornerback to go along with now Charles Brantley. And you're looking at 3, in my opinion, all ACC caliber cornerbacks with OJ Frederick, Charles Brantley, and Emanuel Carnley. A phenomenal start to the transfer portal for this Miami Hurricanes program, where I would stress the quantity's not going to be as high, but you won't find a team that's bringing in better quality than what Miami's bringing in, especially at the positions that you want to address, right? We always say this, the transfer portal, it's a supplement. You don't want to build your roster off it, but you want to supplement the weak parts of your roster with the transfer portal. That's exactly what Miami's doing with bona fide proven talent. Now, where does Miami go from here? you probably still want to look in the secondary. I think the cornerback position you're feeling pretty dang comfortable with. What about the safety spot? I'm going to throw out a name that I think would be extremely exciting for Miami to bring in. That's Jalen Catalon. A fascinating story for Jalen Catalon. I mean, he started his career at Arkansas. There was a time, and this tells you how he's going to be a seventh-year guy. This tells you how long he's played college ball, where in 2020 you looked at him and said he's going to be a top 100 NFL draft pick. Struggles with injuries, goes to Texas, struggles more with injuries, winds up at UNLV in 2024, going into his 6th year of college football. Probably has his best year. One, stays healthy, and then secondly has the best year he's had since his time at Arkansas. An experienced guy that's going into his 7th year, a guy that is starting to play his best ball again once healthy, a guy that we know can be a really good football player when he is healthy. And a guy that has played a lot of football, which I think is most important with a young Miami Hurricanes secondary. Jalen Catalon at the safety spot would make a lot of sense. I mean, him and Zachariah Poyser, that all of a sudden you're looking at the safeties, which was a weak spot for Miami in 2024, and you're saying that could be a really good room in 2025. We'll see if Miami decides to kick it with Jalen Catalon. James Brockmeyer getting a lot of buzz, and you know Miami likes to do this. We want veteran centers, plug-and-play guys, Matt Lee, Zach Carpenter. I do think S.J. Alafatuli would probably be able to play as a freshman. Does Mario Cristobal want to be relying on a true freshman having to play significant snaps? No, probably not. I think he's ready. I think he certainly could, but it wouldn't hurt to bring in a guy that has started all 12 games last year at TCU, a guy that in 500 pass pro sets in 2024 gave up 1 sack and only 7 quarterback pressures. That's not a bad plug and play center while you're letting S.J. Alafatuli kind of develop and become that guy for the next couple of years for Miami. And the last one I'll mention, Trey Lathan from West Virginia, apparently going to make a visit after the dead period. What I'm seeing with Miami in terms of linebacker targets, we're trying to get more athletic. You know, Kiko Mauinoa, for whatever reason, didn't have the year we expected, and it just seems slow at times, that second level. The linebackers Miami's going after in this transfer portal cycle are guys that not only proven contributors, but guys that can go sideline to sideline, be a little bit more athletic in space, be a little bit more athletic in coverage. I like that. I think that's where college football is going. College football and offense is becoming a speed and space game. And if you have linebackers that can operate with speed and space, it's going to be really hard to have a good defense. So I'm a fan of what kind of linebacker that Miami's going after. And you look at what they've done in this 2025 transfer portal window, 5 transfers, it's not going to blow you away. C.J. Daniels, Zachariah Poyser, Charles Brantley, David Blaze, some of the more coveted prospects that you see in the transfer portal, all of which, according to 24/7 Sports, are top 100 guys. It's not going to be a massive class, but the quality is really good for Miami. And at positions that you dang well needed to address. This is a big one for the Miami Hurricanes. We'll wind down there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.